Hey, welcome back to Fireside Time. We're here for a chat with the lovely Deea. So welcome to my channel. My name's Margaret Pennard, if you are new here and you're from Deea's crowd. And we're here to do some reading and some chatting about reading. And yeah, that's about it. So for my crowd, Deea, what's your channel about? What do you like reading and talking about?
Well, channel names on the on the screen, and I love so many things. So I love to read fantasy and classics mainly, but then I do a little bit of science fiction, a little bit of mystery, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I love nonfiction as well, especially historic history. I'm a history buff. I love it. So
Yes. So is there any of those genres that particularly calls to your heart during fall or the transition into fall that we're in right now?
yeah, I love epic fantasy during the fall. So I love that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I love nature nonfiction during the fall. So anything about travel journals and that kind of thing, anything that kind of lets me escape. I love those. I do love classics during the fall, but I tend to read those more in the winter. So, but yeah, especially epic fantasy during the fall.
Is there a readathon that answers that sort of call? Or I can't think of one right away. So
if there is, I don't know about it.
So that's just your own agenda. I like it.
I'm such a mood reader, though, that it doesn't matter whether there is a readathon or not. I'm gonna do the epic fantasy anyway.
Nice. Yeah, I had productivity sprints earlier today, and I had Jim's books, reading and stuff in the chat, and he said he had a TBR for September that was 10 books. He read 5 of them, and he read 5 that weren't on the list. And I say, see, that's balance right there. You got some plan, and then you got some room for flexibility. That's pretty much, blissful combination for me. So
what about you? What do you read during the fall?
So before I had a Booktube channel, I would have said, I don't know, I just read whatever books in order they come, or like I see them on the shelf. And because I've got the Booktube channel and I think about it and I plan it and I try to forecast, which is hard, I do go by readathons. So I try to plan for the Hispanic Heritage Month or the Latinx month. So try to read something from that. That's usually a romance, September to October. And I was doing Shakestember, so trying to do a Shakespeare play that I had missed growing up because I only really read 3 or 4 very closely, but I didn't this year. And then Victorian novels because I love that era. Yeah. But you mentioned nature nonfiction, and for me, that's really a spring thing. That's really some sort of like make me interested in the outside world when I'm like burrowing deep into my cocoon of winter.
I think I do both.
Yeah.
I mean, I read nonfiction all year long, but I think that anything that has to do with travel and that kind of thing, like even if I just started to pick up Patrick Leigh Fermer's books this year, and
I've only got
a time of gifts, and it's his journal about this long walk that he took, and getting from one place to another, and just his observations along the way, and it feels very Odyssey-like. Which might be why I like to read fantasy in the fall, and so it feels like I'm going on an adventure kind of thing, and I think that's probably why. But
I just had a mention of Patrick Leigh Fermor in my introduction. So I picked up the most beautiful copy of The Living Mountain. Have you read this by Nan Shepherd?
No.
Oh, okay. So it came out, I think, in the same year that Time of Gifts was released.
I'm gonna write it down.
Do you want to see the cover? I can actually show you the cover because, like, oh, it's so pretty. But it's
yes. The Living Mountain.
Go on like a run for errands, and then somehow a walk for exercise and fresh air turns into, oh, look, a bookstore. I'm like, how did I end up here?
Wow.
But yeah, so this is a classic that I've been aware of for a long time. And
really
that day,
pretty.
yesterday, when I saw it, I was just like, that's the one. I need to get this. It's like
that is beautiful.
And the mountain that Nan Shepherd is talking about are the Cairngorms in Scotland, where she grew up next to. And it's really short. It's a 30,000 words. So if it was fiction, it would be like a novella. But yeah, she just talks about going all over, discovering things about the mountain. She's a climber, discovering things about nature, discovering things about herself, and just sort of the knowing that you can only get from trying things again and again. And I was like, oh, yes, this is the season.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really like that. So I guess, yeah, nature. But in the foreword, it says that it came out at the same time because she had written it like at the end of World War II, but then waited because the one publisher she submitted to turned it down, and waited until there were all these other ones that were getting popular, and was like, okay, I guess I'll try again. And it was classic. So yeah, good feels. So fall reading, Victober, both doing Victober.
Nonfiction November.
Yes, that's part of the video planning that I'm doing, actually.
Oh, good.
So I had started putting like, what do I recommend? And that's the beginning of my recommendations lists. To like weed it out a little bit, but yeah. What are you thinking about for November? I know Olive usually gives prompts, and she hasn't dropped the prompts yet, but I'm like, ready.
I have a bunch that I have buddy reads for already.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Okay. So
no matter what the prompts are.
Yeah, hopefully I can fit them in there. Jury rig them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of readathons anyway, right? To get the most ludicrous connection possible to the challenge.
Exactly. So I actually have one from Scotland. I have been wanting to read The Sea Room by Adam Nicholson. That's right. And it kept getting like the month would end and I hadn't have read it yet. And Camilla, who is Hasty Books.
Yes.
She and I tried to read a book in September, at the beginning of September, and both of us hated it so much that we were like, let's do a different buddy read.
Fun.
So we DNF'd it, and then we were like, let's read The Sea Room. And okay, so we'll do that during Nonfiction November. So we've got that one, and just a few others that I've tried to make sure that I'm going to absolutely be reading, and then just like I said, mood read. I've got a mood read. Otherwise, I feel like I'm getting stifled somehow.
Yeah.
Or I'm back in school being told what I have to read. Yeah.
So. I don't take that either. But do you have a strategy for when you want to read a book and you don't feel like it, to like force yourself? And while you're thinking about that answer, I'm going to say hello to the people in the chat and welcome to Melissa stopped by. She is running a weekend write-a-thon right now. A really fun one. So she stopped in. And Anita said hi. Hello. And Jennifer Brown. Hello. Cool Gamer saying hello as usual. And Leslie. Hey, how's it going? So.
Skurs and purrs. I like that. Yeah. That's a fun one. Yes. Do I have a strategy? If I need to read it for a specific reason, I will read it. But otherwise, I don't really force myself to read something. Yeah. So if I don't feel like it, probably not going to happen.
Why? Right? Why bother? Yeah.
So
yeah. There's just some books that like I'll start or I will put on my to read, like I'm staring at right now, and they'll just stay there. And even like if I evaluate the cover and like the premise, I'm like, it sounds good. I just don't want to read this right now. So yeah, I just let it go.
Sometimes I'll pick something up and look at the opening paragraph or something like that and just read through it. And if it captures me, then I'll continue. And if it doesn't, then it may just end up sitting there for a very, very long time. Or I'll give it to, Goodwill or to a friend or something like that.
Right.
And then circle back around to it when I feel like it and get it from the library or something.
What about what you are reading right now?
Right now,
doing sprints. Ooh!
My friend
watching one. Yeah.
My friend Dave has a story in here.
Book Blather, right?
And he actually sent this to me.
Oh, nice.
Just because. and so I told him that I would try to read it this next month, but I have so many buddy reads that I've started it early, basically, so that I can do it. So this is what I'm going to be reading.
Nice. And I would just say that I made my way through that book very slowly. I only did one story at a time, like per day, and had gaps in between some of them. And the things are so different that some I didn't connect with at all, and some I was like very impressed by, and a few I had like a really like resonance with, wide variety, and that was the goal. So
yeah.
Maggie's here saying hello, lovelies, and she's part of DNF sisterhood. I like it. Oh my gosh. She says the hardest reading challenge I did had a no DNF roll. Oof. Yeah.
I would, yeah. Oftentimes with readathons and things, if I start reading something that I don't like and I still want to fulfill the prompt or whatever, I just put a different book in. But I'll still DNF something if I don't.
Yeah. What's funny is, I didn't think about this before, but I don't DNF a lot of books, maybe like 5 to 10% of the books that I start. But I was the person who did not DNF in like high school and college. When people did skims or reading the quick and dirty guide, I never did that. I read every single book I was told to read. So maybe that's just what I'm reacting to now. And I'm just like, okay with it to the wind. Like I've done my time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's the reason why I mood read, right? I can't do the feeling like I'm back in college and have to read this every single thing in this book in order to be able to discuss it in class. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will show you, and maybe you can advise me which one I should read. So the one I started the longest ago is the Robin Hobb, Ship of Magic. And as a epic fantasy person, have you read this one?
I have read that one. I've only read 2 in all of the Farseer trilogy. I read that one, and I read the very first one, Assassin's Apprentice.
Okay.
And that was not my favorite, but it's not my favorite for a very specific reason.
Which I have probably not have come to. Have not come to.
No, you don't get to it until practically the end.
Oh, okay.
Which is another reason why it made me so mad.
Okay. I'm forming opinions here. It's a really interesting, like, magic premise, like live ships that sort of craft onto families.
The other thing I found about that book that's completely different with Assassin's Apprentice is that there is one, maybe two likable characters in the entire book.
Oh.
Yeah. Everybody else I found myself just constantly angry with or irritated with. And so it was a hard book for me.
Well. Okay.
But I don't think I'm the norm with that. I think I'm an exception.
Are you a harsh critic of your characters?
I don't know. I don't know if I am or not, but I certainly was with that one. Yeah, that was a hard one for me.
Maggie?
I love that cover too. Yeah, it's a good cover.
She's also dropping, maybe she's talking about this cover.
The Stygian, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I really love it. They did a great job with this book. It's a nice floppy one too. It opens easy, stays open. Yeah. It's a really good one.
That's a hard one to get right too, because you have to order a physical copy to test whether that's right, and then trust the people who are producing them that they're all going to come out that way, which sometimes they don't.
And the other thing that I love is that they put all of these
in
the back. It was so nice. It's great. They've got all with little bios and everything right here at the back. And it's so fun that they did that with every single author in the book.
24, 25?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. What's that? So that's the epic fantasy I'm reading. The historical fiction I'm reading is by another person on AuthorTube, Deborah Carr, An Island at War. And I've only had a couple sessions with this one, but it's pretty quick moving. It's the beginning of World War II on Jersey rather than Guernsey. I haven't been to any of the Channel Islands, so I got to remember what the names are. And I find it so strange that everything's in French, but they're all British and they speak English. I'm like, what is going on? So now I'm intrigued by the history of the Channel Islands themselves.
Oh.
Lots of fear build up. I'm just like at the beginning of that.
I'm not much of a World War II historical fiction person.
Okay.
So I haven't hardly read anything that is historical fiction World War II era, unless it's really old. Because I did go through a stage of it, way back in the day.
I'm trying to remember the one that I really liked that was like something.
I did read Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I did read that.
So, what is it? It's something at the castle, and it's a during World War II written book. It's so like vulnerable for the writer to have written the character that way. I can't remember it. I will look it up when we do our little sprint here. And then one I just picked up on a whim from the library, Patricia Wentworth, who I haven't read. I think she's Ripley, isn't she?
I don't know. I don't think I've read anything by her either.
Wentworth. Either that or some other pretty famous book. But she has a series about Miss Silver, who's a detective, amateur detective. And this is the first one called The Chinese Shawl. And it's starting off very good. Better in my mind than Agatha Christie. So I'm excited.
I'm going to look up that one too.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll start off reading.
I'm also reading Our Hideous Progeny.
That sounds familiar.
It's C.E. McGill. See if I can pull up a cover for you. I don't have it out here with me. I may go grab it. but it is it's not a retelling. It's like a spin-off of Frankenstein.
Ah, okay. And is it new? Like it's recent?
It's newer. Let me look up where it was, when it was published here.
Okay. And I'm going to look up the book that I tried to tell you about.
Yes, it's new this year.
Okay. I thought I remembered hearing about it recently.
It is the coolest cover.
Oh, let me get back to the right tab. Ooh, yes, it is. I hadn't seen the cover before.
It's so fun.
Yeah, definitely spooky.
And so it is a descendant of Frankenstein who never knew her father, but is very scientifically minded and ends up marrying a scientist as well. And then they kind of stumble upon his work or it's maybe it's her uncle that was the uncle? I don't remember. It's clear back at the beginning of the book. Somehow she's related. And anyway, they stumble upon his work, and then they basically are doing the exact same thing, but not with people in the book. And something happens, and I don't know exactly what that is yet. I know that they have created a monster, so to speak, but the way that it started it like starts a certain way and then it flashes back in time, and the whole book has been that flashback except for the very first chapter.
Interesting. So it will come back to the present.
Mm-hmm. So I'm waiting for what happened at the beginning. It's like, okay, when's this going to happen? So that's the other one that I'm reading.
Maggie says she's an enjoy the journey type of reader. Sako came in to say, stream hoppers unite. I love it. It's Maggie's little hashtag. And yes, Anita is correcting me. Patricia Wentworth is the name for the Miss Silver Mysteries. Patricia Highsmith is the...
Oh, okay. Ripley.
Patricia.
That's... Okay. Yeah. Ripley is the name of the guy. Right? Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to look back in my May of the Moderns books, and the one I'm trying to think of was Castle on the Hill by Elizabeth Gooch.
Oh,
and I bet you would like her.
I probably would like her. I have never read an Elizabeth Gooch because they are impossible.
They're hard to find. I know. I'm like, which print company will reprint them?
And I'm not an e-reader. I don't read on a screen. I just can't do it. And so it wouldn't be so impossible if I would do that, but I just can't do it.
The ones I've gotten from her have been paperbacks, and I'm trying to remember if one of them was, or if any of her books are on the Persephone catalog. So then all you need to do is fly to England, stop in Bath, and
that's it. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
I have looked on eBay quite a bit for her books, and have found them, but they've never been in great condition. And who wants to spend, the amount of shipping even for a book that's not in anything other than acceptable condition? So it's just not fun. Not fun at all.
Well, to whatever brave soul out there wants to reprint those for accessibility for the rest of us, it would be great. Thanks. All right, well, let's jump into a reading spate, a reading code.
Okay.
Let me pop the little fireside up so we've got some atmosphere to go with. And I'll put it to yeah, exactly. So we
love that.
And I'll put a little timer so we don't like completely forget the world. 42. We were having a good time talking. I shouldn't have done this like 10 minutes ago. Okay, so I will mute myself so you can still hear the crackling and not any weird noises I make while I'm reading. Uh-huh. Oh, there's our cue. It's a 15-minute fireplace. Oh,
I love it.
yeah. How did you do?
I did great.
Visitor.
Yes, this is Poppy.
Poppy.
It's Poppy Seed, actually, but she never goes by her full name ever. She's pop star, pop fly, pop music, popcorn.
Yeah, I like that. I do that with Bean too. He came to me as Bean, so I got a lot of possibilities with that. So he gets called everything under the sun as well. How'd you do with your book? Was she helping you reading?
Yeah, I got to read a little bit of Stygian, and then I needed to get her some treats, some dinner.
Uh-huh.
And so I did that and then came back and read a little bit more. I didn't get very far. I'm actually reading Dave's story right now. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, The Oarsman.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, okay. Yep.
but
That
didn't get.
kept shifting for me. I was like, what's happening? Oh my God.
Oh, good.
New each time. Yeah. That's good. Oh. Well, spooky read. You chose well. I was giggling. I don't know if you saw me at the beginning, but
No.
so Miss Silver, the Chinese shawl, this is
Uh-huh.
what I was reading, and it was one of these intensely okay. So do you remember Orphan Annie, the movie? Annie?
I don't know if I've ever seen the movie, but I used to read the comic.
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up with the movie and like did not understand the movie that they went to see, which I think is Camille. Did you ever see that? Like Camilla the play from Victorian age converted into a not silent movie, but very early talkie movie. And there's a scene where she's dying and it's like black and white and she's like this with consumption or something, you know,
Okay.
and he kisses her and she's dead. And I just remember being so confused by that. Like, why is that a romantic scene? I didn't understand like the romantic tragedy of it all. And that's like the chapter that I just read from.
Oh,
The style is so
melodramatic.
dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fall in love scene was like it was perfect for what it was, but it's too over the top by today's standards. But I really enjoyed it. So yeah. Yeah, and it was people talking frankly with each other, which doesn't normally happen in that day and age or this. So,
Mm-hmm.
breath of
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like one of the things that I dislike most about any modern day romance. There seems to be this miscommunication when actually it's just people keeping secrets from one another,
Yeah.
not being upfront and honest about things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that reflects reality though.
Mm.
In terms of dating, relationships, all that sort of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it the author's fault? Oh, yeah.
I think when it's not set in this day and age, though, is when I have a problem with it.
Oh,
So,
historical romance.
yeah, or fantasy romance,
Mm.
or just anything that's not like, because I can understand wanting to keep some things back in this day and age because everything is so open and forward because we're online, and you can find out anything you want to pretty much about anyone at any time, depending on how much of an online presence they've had in their lives. And so it feels like you can do a lot of that on your own, even if they're not actually talking to you. You can go find out things, but when they're set in the past or set in some world that isn't our own, it just feels like this is wrong.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be this way.
Interesting. Okay, so if I was gonna think of like sci-fi romance, so this is set in the future in space, and there's like a romantic element. What do I expect those people to be motivated by differently than they are on Earth? Career? Are people in space stations more career oriented, or survival, family, settling down? Like, I don't know.
I would think that they would have, yeah, I guess it would be like, are they on a space station? Are they, have they just come out of, freeze dried state?
Right, a journey where they're cryogenically frozen.
Cryogenically frozen. Just all of these other things. What have they got to lose, basically? Why would they need to keep a secret? Why would they not need to not be upfront and honest about something?
Interesting.
That kind of thing. So I think you'd have to, what is she saying? Something about based on characters' baggage.
That's true, because those are the goggles real people see the world through. So why not have that character trait? That makes sense, Maggie. Yeah. Because I think if my assumption is that in the future we will have evolved out of needing to be, crotchety, protective, defensive humans, I'm like, no, that's really what we're like. So I guess I don't see the same thing in sci-fi. In fantasy romance, if it's more based on like historical past, then would I expect characters in books or people in the past in the fantasy world to be more honest? I guess I would, because it's usually presented as like forest primeval type environments where people are not as jaded or cynical as now. So I guess I would expect them to be more frank.
I think in fantasy worlds, it can depend on race, that kind of stuff too. Like, are we in an elven society? Well,
okay.
Why would there need to be miscommunication in that, or
that's true.
Or, just different stuff like that. But
a very like honor coded fictitious races.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Maggie, the writer of science fiction and epic tales, why did they leave their birth world is a good consideration. Why are they where they are? What did they have to do to get there? Maybe that's the secrets. I think Star Trek's Federation skewed our entire view of sci-fi. Oh, maybe that's true for me. I grew up on Star Trek much more than Star Wars, so
I grew up on both, but it's funny because I don't think of those when I think of science fiction, at least now. Because those seem so retro.
Right, we've gone past that. Yeah.
Like, for example, I read Children of Time, Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Oh, I just saw someone on Storygraph talking about that.
I read it last year, not this year, but like there was miscommunication trope in that, but it was simply because of power hungry people. So they were purposely keeping something from someone because they didn't want them to know what their ultimate goal was.
Right.
And so they were trying to power play political type stuff.
Was that for like an overarching political plot or like a romance? Because we were talking about
it was both. It was both. Because they knew that the person that they were romantically interested in would not be on their side or want to be romantically interested in them if they knew what their ultimate goal was.
Oh. Sounds good. Have you read, I should say, The Memory of Empire?
Arcady? Is that Arcady Martin? Is that
yes.
it's on my list, and I think I started it, and it was one of those that I was like, I'm just not in the mood for this yet. I need to set this aside and wait.
Mood reader.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I just need a flashing sign on my head.
So Anita brings up another good counterpoint. Dystopian fantasy has plenty of jaded characters. That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've read.
They're often not completely jaded with one another, though there's still a lot of open communication in dystopian fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, overall, but like romantically and stuff, there's still usually some pretty serious, like, this is who I am, this is what my goal is, what's yours, and there's usually some pretty open, but she's right, there are some pretty jaded characters in there.
And I'm thinking about, the last Fireside Chat I hosted, Laura Elena Donnelly, who's historical fantasy / second world fantasy. I'm not sure what she calls it. But that it doesn't have magic in it, she said, but it acts like it does because there's always things different from our world. Anyway, that is a very secretive society with spies, with like planned takeovers, with rising fascism, and like there's also like intimate relationships that we're following that are, made because of those difficult circumstances, and then also injured because of those difficult circumstances. It's very
I read have you ever read any of Philip K. Dick? Have you ever read his? I have one that I absolutely love, which is The Man in the High Castle.
It's also a TV series now, isn't it?
I think they did. I've never seen it, but I think they did make a series out of it, so I don't know how closely it follows the book or anything. But in that one, even I'm going against everything I just said. I love it. And I love all of the secretive kind of, manipulations that are kind of going on behind the scenes. But I, as a reader, really know what those are. That's another thing that I've found, like with the miscommunication trope. A lot of times especially in a relationship, we have like, she didn't want to tell him everything about her because, he may not like her if,
it's insecurities, which we don't hear more about. Yeah, we already have enough of them. Thank you.
And so with this one, though, when it plays into that kind of political plot line of espionage and secrets and trying to undermine somebody that's not necessarily doing good, as long as that doesn't play into the romantic relationship side of things and it's just the political side of things, I really like it.
Interesting. Okay, I like it. So Maggie says, we assume the benevolent future space empire. Well, I think the brown coat nation is closer to the truth.
Brown coat as in Firefly?
No, I think brown coat as in like jackboots and fascism. Anita says, political fantasy has plenty of secrets and lies. Thrones. I won't, thank you. I try not to think about Game of Thrones, but
I don't like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Paige says, definitely think it depends on the world building. Yeah. Whether you're part of like a plan or just like a crutch. Kind of feels like a crutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maggie says, I grew up on Anne McCaffrey. So did I.
I like Anne McCaffrey. Well, I like some Anne McCaffrey. There's some that I'm just like, your treatment of women as a woman, that should not be happening.
Yeah.
But
and Ben Bova. And I'm aware of Ben Bova, but I have not read any of their books.
I don't know who that is.
Where they were very the very political slants happening even in the distant future. Yeah. Well, the last is it a spoiler? I'll be very vague. So the last Anne McCaffrey that I read incorporated a way to tie her sci-fi novels into her fantasy novels by bringing it full circle, and that gave it a political slant, and that I really appreciated that reveal. Like, it was very good. Yeah. Book that makes you think. Yep, Man in the High Castle.
It is so good.
A show on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay, it is. It is a show. Firefly. I was right. Brown coat.
What is a brown coat nation then?
Brown coat nation. Oh, in Firefly, the brown coats were the rebels. They were the ones that were trying to make a difference. And
what did I know? I thought it was the other side. Thank you, Maggie. The wide split between the haves and have-nots and the power imbalance. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I love it. Firefly is one of my all-time favorites. I love it so much.
I have known several people, not a lot, but several, who are strict adherents or very big fans, let's say. And I want to get into it. It's kind of like Buffy, but I look back and I'm kind of trawling around for an episode to look at that will hook me, and I'm kind of like, I don't know.
I don't think I would have liked it so much if I wasn't watching it with somebody that really loved it, and that just kind of rubbed off on me, and then I was like, let's watch more. I got to where a couple of the characters were just really completely endearing, and that's what happened. So
it looks like we've got a few fellow fans in that. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. We have our second little sprint to do our half and half, even though we're a little overbalanced. You might want to do another 15-minute session.
Absolutely.
All right. Start our fireplace timer. There we go.
Okay.
And our little other timer as well, just in case people want to know the time tap. There we go. And I'll mute myself and see you in 15. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. This is how you know I was reading it at night, because the only thing I had next to me was my hair elastic. I took it out of my hair. Oh my goodness. I laughed again. There's a really funny line. You want to hear it out of context?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not very far in, but like, no one's been murdered, but 2 people have already indicated that they could murder this one young woman who's like a seductress that plays with men's emotions, and everyone's getting mad at her, right? And so our main character is thinking about her last encounter with this seductress figure, and her name is Tanis. That was the worst of the sort of things Tanis has said. You pushed them out of your mind and tidied it up, and then you found some lurking trail of slime. Like, she's leaving slime trails in her mind. That's what type of character this is.
I love that. Oh my goodness. That is so.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
Right? So, yes, I am having a lovely read. This is a nice change because I was in nonfiction. Oh, for Scott Tember. This is the one that's the Cairngorms being described in her memoirs. And then the convict penal colony of Australia for Straya September.
Wow.
Like these huge chunky books about sad things and whatever. So this is a nice bio break.
I bet.
Yeah.
I do that with cozy mysteries. I have to kind of put one in there every now and then just so that my brain can have a little candy. little snack.
Do you have a favorite series or two that you like dip in and out of when you need that palate cleanser?
No, in fact, I'm always looking for something. The one that I just read really surprised me because it was not, I'm used to cozy mysteries being, if there's any kind of a romance in them, it being closed door.
Yeah.
And the one that I was in was like, okay. Not closed door. All right. Well, let's just skip this chapter.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, because I don't read them for that. I just read them to have some fun. Yes, but not that kind.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I think I have like maybe 3 or 4. I can definitely think of a cozy mystery. I can definitely think of a historical mystery. I can definitely think of a supernatural mystery that like I am not hurried to read and finish the series, but like when I want to turn back to something that's like fun, I go, oh, I can go to one of these and get them from the library or find them. And yeah. But
what's the cozy mystery series that you like to go to?
It's Cozy Supernatural. It's by let's see if I can. Brownies and Broomsticks, Magical Bakery Mystery. Bailey Cates. So there's a cat and there's a bakery and they're in Savannah, Georgia. And there's a romance, but it's very slow and it's like ties the series together and it's closed door. So
I have one that's very similar to that, but that's not it. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
It's pretty common elements that can get remixed for cozy mysteries. So
well, this one is like the Arthurian Merlin kind of legend where Morgana versus I can't remember the other one, but anyway, it's like this age-old kind of family feud type of thing, right? And this is modern day, but it's their descendants.
Okay.
And one of them, her gift as a witch is that she can put emotion into what she's baking. So if she wants somebody to be affected a certain way, then she can put that emotion into it. but there's no cats in this one. It's all dogs.
Fair. Yeah. No, I like the emotions into food thing. I remember reading The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake, which is literary, not cozy, but it was nice. And I like that idea and how it gets interpreted by different people, because in a way it's true. Like you taste someone's love when they make something homemade for you. So I like that like supernatural version of it.
Yeah, this one is all things like lemon pies and alibis, and it's that those sorts of titles. And it's a magical pie shop. Like she's famous for her pies. It's peach pie. It's peach pie and alibis. That's what it is. Peach pie and alibis. I think that might be the first one. But I don't remember the name of the. Let me see if I can find it.
We've got some recommendations for cozy mystery palette cleansers. That sounds like a video idea if I've ever heard one. So
Ellery Adams is the
Ellery? That's another cozy mystery pen name. Oh my god. Okay.
Kate Bay.
I think by Harper Lynn ran out of them. Yeah. So Bailey Kate is my cozy mystery. Historical mystery is Maisie Dobbs. Always Maisie Dobbs. I love her as a character. She's my hero. And the supernatural sort of mystery thriller is The Others by Anne Bishop. So I like that one. Maggie's bringing forth Aaron Johnson's Spells and Caramels. I like the sound of that.
I don't look at these.
All I put in my food is poison, says Anita. Do you have a cozy paranormal mystery? Is that your detective duo? Is that cozy? No.
Cozy paranormal mystery.
Pet psychic magical mysteries? Oh gosh. See.
Pet psychic. Oh no. I don't know if I need a psychic pet around me.
Yeah.
That would be scary. Some ways when Poppy looks at me, sometimes I'm thinking, uh-oh, what do you know that I don't? Yes. Yeah. I don't want to.
Someone just came by to say hello. So.
I really liked the first few of the Maisie Dobbs books, and then it like lost its steam for me.
Oh.
And so I ended up just kind of stopping that one. I think I was on like book 8 or something in it. I love Phryne. I love Phryne Fisher. Love her. She's amazing.
I got the first one a few months ago. Haven't read it yet. I'm waiting for one of my fellow booktubers, Rosie, to come back on Booktube. She's been on hiatus. She's the one who like recommends Phryne Fisher all the time. She's also a fellow Lord of the Rings fan, like super fan. So like we connect on multiple levels.
Oh, I love that. I love Phryne. She's amazing. Let's see what there's a Seattle Spice Shop mystery that I really like that series.
So the cozy paranormal mystery is the one that Anita is writing currently.
Okay.
That's great. And then I love Maisie Dobbs too, Paige. I've read everyone except for the last one, and I'm holding out that one because I don't want it to end.
Is it done being written?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she was tired of writing them, so she started another one that is not that series, but similar era and different characters. But I don't think the publisher has closed it out. So.
Okay.
Maggie says the pet psychic ones are about a witch who was cursed and lost all her magic except the ability to talk to animals, and pet psychic is the only job she can get. Oh my gosh. No. Undercover. That's great. That's a great premise.
Yeah, I like that.
So
so it's not the pet that is psychic.
Yes.
It's her that's can talk with. I got it. I like that better. I was thinking the pet was psychic and it could read all of my thoughts. I'm like, no, please.
Yes, and I mean, this steampunk detective is kind of cozy. I would, yeah, the cover kind of has cozy elements. I'll give you that. Nice. She spent the whole series having a hit or miss flirtmance with a magic cop with a truth-smelling dog. What?
That sounds amazing.
What is a magic cop? I'm afraid to ask. She and the dog snark at each other through the whole series. Okay, so this is sounding better and better because, the palate cleanser is really
It does. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They have to be bubble gummy. I love them.
This can work as well because this is making me laugh out loud.
I put it on my list.
Yeah.
As soon as you read that to me, I was like, got to do it.
Do you take trips to the library to see what hits you, or besides doing eBay?
Yeah, most of the time, most of what I don't own very much. You can see my bookshelf behind me.
Yes, I see the Monstera.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for books for me. And the whole bottom shelf is nothing but children's books. So it's just 4 shelves of books. So most of mine are library. That's what I do. I don't own very many.
Like to make an appearance?
Oh, look.
He's like, I want to be right here, right where the wires are, and just rub on the wires. Oh my God. No, he's just trouble. The library, good. Does your library do book clubs or gatherings or any type of thematic things, or is it just go in and search?
If they do, I don't know anything about it. My library is pretty small. And when I say pretty small, I mean it's probably the size of my apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. So it's really not very big. And they don't have a huge selection. So I spend more time online getting things from the community library network type thing.
Relation desk, ding, ding.
And then having them on hold in the library when I go in.
Right.
So they do have a little store attached. And so sometimes I'll go in and peruse that, but even that's not very well stocked.
Yeah.
So with, more, there's lots of learning books and things. It's like the homeschoolers get done with their educational books and they give them to the library store to sell. Which is great for other homeschoolers. It's just not great for somebody that's done homeschooling. Finished with that. I don't need those kind of books anymore.
Yeah.
That cat just mooned us.
Maggie gives the Pet Psychic series 5 stars. I'm going to have to look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to too.
Yes, Kitty sighting and Maggie's phrase, feline overlords, and I feel pretty cool when I walk into my little neighborhood library and I can go straight to the hold shelf and I'm like, I know this place well enough. I know what I'm going for. But yeah, what's unfortunate for the moment, but will lead to long-term future happiness. Half of the branches in Portland are closed because they're renovating. They were closed for needed renovations, and now they're closed for we've got to spend all this investment money. So I don't know what they're doing. I go down to the central library and it's closed, but it doesn't look like they're doing anything. So I hope they open up again on time, because my little library is not as spacious and commodious when you want to do library things. So
well, we moved here to Idaho. We moved from Austin, Texas, and Austin had several library branches that were closed too, but the main central library stayed open. all of, COVID and everything. So, and I could get pretty much anything from there. And so coming up here has been a real shock.
Yeah, you got to find different channels.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's been lured in by the new arrivals shelf more times than I can count. That's excellent. Yeah, I like that. I like the staff picks. And Elle is here saying late, but hello.
Hi, Elle.
Maggie says they've been closing libraries in Colorado to keep the homeless out of them. Interesting. That can't be the only reason.
Huh.
The Central Library in Austin.
It is so cool. It is so cool. It's like 5 stories, and it's just the coolest architecture on the inside and everything. It's fun.
Nice.
It's a fun one.
I remember someone did I think a TikTok is where I saw this, but a video of one of the libraries in Washington that's built on a river. Have you seen or heard of this?
Oh, no.
It's newer. It's like within the last 10 years, and it's actually like a bridge over a river, and they've incorporated that in their architecture, and I'm like, I want to go there. It's not Vancouver. Vancouver has a really cool central library too, but I'll have to find that because that is within the realm of possibility. I can do a little day trip, and I don't need a library, so that would be fun.
I can do a day trip to Washington.
Yeah.
It's just across the border from me.
Right.
So.
Maggie says you've better luck ordering through the library vans and picking them up at a mobile library site. I don't think we do that.
Huh. In Colorado. She must mean in Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we do that, but maybe it's for more.
That would be so much fun. Have you read Jenny Colgan's little, what is it? Library on the corner or something like that? Bookshop? Little bookshop. Yeah. Bookshop on the corner.
Something
and
like
that's what it is, though, is it? I mean, it's not a library. Hers is actually selling books, but she paints her little van, and it just sounds like the best thing ever.
Yeah. So,
and it's in Scotland.
Is it in Scotland? Or?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She starts off in Birmingham, but then Birmingham, and then moves up into Scotland. Birmingham.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have that on audiobook, and that's one of the ones I keep looking at going, it's a book about books, but like it just doesn't excite me. Maybe it's the cover.
It could be, but it's actually pretty cute.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. And it has her doing like the typical thing, I think, with booksellers, matching the book to the person, but also just getting people excited about reading that haven't been, up until that point. And everything from little crotchety old men that are, Scottish sheep farmers to the grocery store lady who's, only wants to ever read 50 Shades of Grey. Trying to get her interested in something else.
Vampires, yeah.
And then to a little boy who doesn't know how to read at all, but should because he's old enough to, and but he just skips school because his mom is really sick, and so just different things like that. Like, it's got all these different little elements besides the romance, besides the books. So
okay, I definitely need to do a video on books about books, or books for book lovers, or something like that, because there's another one I picked up that's like a woman has a very bad breakup, midlife crisis, whatever it is, and buys a little trailer, turns it into a bookstore, goes traveling in the UK, and I'm like, yes, I will be picking up this book. It has my name written all over it.
Yeah.
That dream of opening a bookstore. Is that always in the back of your mind as well, or is it?
I would love. My son and I used to draw up plans when he was a little guy, and things. It was like we wanted to own a bookstore / coffee shop / music venue, and he's very much a music guy, but he's also very entrepreneurial, and we both just love architecture and all that kind of stuff. So we used to dream of, having to go down the steps underneath something and kind of be in this little hidden, out of the way alley, back alley bookshop kind of thing. And then with Persian rugs on the floor, and just all of the big cozy chairs and the smell of coffee, and you could tell that the kids grew up in Washington State because that's where we lived at the time, and so you can tell they're from Washington because all of them grew up to be baristas at one time or another. All of them grew up to play music, and they're all musical.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Maggie was talking about why the homeless ruckus in the libraries, unfortunately.
She must be a little bookshop on the corner or whatever.
Again. Yeah. And then, I want to read that. My librarian just had to face the zombie apocalypse with the cats she is allergic to. What? Oh, you're talking about your latest book. I was like, wait, what? She's talking about I can picture the cover. But yeah, she has a cat lady prepares for the zombie apocalypse, but I didn't know she was a librarian. So yeah.
Oh, I get it now. Got it.
Your link, Maggie. It's totally cool. Someone has a bookshop, book truck, St. Rita's amazing traveling bookstore, and textual apothecary. I like that.
Textual apothecary. I love that. That's a great term.
The thing is, when you have a bookstore, you spend so much time trying to have people know that you exist, that there's really that huge giant step to get over before you can make all these connections, because no one is coming in for you to connect to the perfect book. And I speak from experience. So I've been a bookseller, just not a bookshop owner. It's how to become a crazy cat lady to survive the zombie apocalypse. She has a Facebook page. Oh, I like it. Oh boy.
Love that. What are you writing right now, Margaret? What are you researching and writing right now?
I'm not writing right now. It's been a couple months since I've written. But what I am researching that I think may turn into something, but hasn't yet, is let me sort them out in my head. There's two different periods. There's 1840s, sort of inspired by a Charlotte Collins character who later in life comes to discover she has supernatural power. So that's the 1840s, and she's going to sort of wake up to inequality in a part of the UK where she has moved with her silly husband. And the other one is 1880s, and that's more about the connections between land rights activism in Scotland and home activism in Ireland, and how they play together. And I keep getting little snatches of both, but not how they're interacting necessarily in a personal, individual level. So I'm trying to figure that one out, and just reading bits here and there. Those are the two things that have cropped up this year. Yeah. 19th century, still there.
Yeah. I had a friend that said, do you ever feel like you were born in the wrong time or whatever? And I think about it, and I like a lot of modern conveniences. There are quite a few modern conveniences I wouldn't really want to do without, but at the same time, I would love to have been a lighthouse keeper on an island in the middle of nowhere, and not had anybody have access to me on a regular basis, and that kind of stuff. So had to keep
I would
things
definitely go crazy. I could not do that.
As long as I had a dog or something with me, I would be fine.
Wow.
I'd be fine. I'd love it.
I'd prefer to be a time witch where I can go where I want.
when you want. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Let me go back to the 20th century so that I can use a flushing toilet.
Exactly. And Google, for example.
Google, yeah.
Yeah. No, there's fascinating tales, though. Both of my nonfictions are really interesting, and especially with this one, she's writing this book in 1845, 1850, her memoirs, and so far she's only gotten from 1795 to 1815. So I've read 20 years about the turn of the 19th century, but after this she goes another 20 years. There's lots of interesting little pieces there, but I'm not sure that they'll ever develop into anything. They're just accruing, magpie behind.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love playing Trivial Pursuit because I have all these little snatches of things in my head, but they don't ever, play out to anything major. I'm just know enough to be dangerous.
When does this come in handy? Trivial Pursuit. I love lighthouses, but the old ones kind of scare me. Why?
Probably because of the actual fire, maybe, that was used to light the lights in the old days, maybe. I don't know. I like my electric blanket and microwave popcorn. I don't have either, so.
No?
No.
I don't have an electric blanket, but I do have central or forced air heating, which is pretty nice.
Yes, exactly. Although I love a good fireplace. I love those. So I grew up with wood stoves and.
Oh, they used mercury to lubricate the wheel that made the light for the lighthouse.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that what it was?
Mercury? Seriously? What is mercury's a liquid in the thermometer when it's regular temperature. So I guess it would be a lubricant. That makes sense.
Oh, L. Fire tower in the mountains.
There you go.
I tell my husband all the time, if we could live at the very tippy top of a mountain, we're only reachable by helicopter, and it's only our children that really know where we are.
Yeah.
I would love that. It would drive him nuts too, though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's why so many lighthouse keepers went mad, is because of the poison.
I would go mad, not from the mercury, just from the loneliness. And I do need my solitude. I was just trying to explain to someone, and it was the wrong person to try to explain this to. So let's see if this reference gets any friendlier audience here. I said Thursday is my selkie day.
Aww.
What do you think? What do you think that means?
Always wanted to be a selkie because you can I'm serious, because you can turn into a seal and go be in the wide ocean all by yourself and then come back to your family if you want to on land for a little while.
Yeah, just my be alone, don't have to do anything professional or obligatory or whatever. It's kind of like the Bluebeard thing, the selkie who says this one day a year or whatever it is, or one day a month that you don't ask me about, just I'm gonna, I won't be available. I'm like, yes, this Thursday is my selkie day. And I gave a couple hints, selkies were these creatures or seals or women that came on land, and the guy was just not
I get it.
So
I love selkies. I absolutely love them.
Idea.
In fact, one of my all-time favorite stories, well, I have a few, but one of them from when I was a little girl is The Secret of Roninish, and just that idea of a selkie child.
You mean this? Oh my God, I love the soundtrack. I haven't seen the movie in a really long time, but the soundtrack is just amazing.
And the newest cartoon one that is out, that is, what is it? Song of the Seas? Is that what it's called? That is also about a selkie mom, and the dad is a lighthouse keeper.
What?
Yeah.
Is this like an animated movie?
Is it have you ever seen Secret of Kells?
No.
Because it's the same animation for Song of the Sea. I'm going to look it up because I'm not sure that's the right title.
Maggie's letting us know they've removed most of the live-in fire watchers from Colorado Towers. They use camera and internet to do a central watch center. Okay. Anita is confirming the mercury, plus the pay sucked. Tasting History just did a video on lighthouse keepers. Oh, nice. Song of the Sea. Okay. No, I don't. Is it on Netflix?
It might be.
I don't know. That's the only thing I have because my family has a subscription like mine. Yeah. I've practically memorized the language in those songs because I've heard them so many times, even though I don't know what they're saying in Irish.
This is a better image. Oop.
Oh.
I love it.
Okay. Cool.
Let's see.
Song of the Sea. Kells. Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I love it. It deals with a daughter who really wants her mom to be there, and the jealousy that she feels towards her younger sibling, because her father is having to put so much time into raising that younger sibling because the mother's not there, and the idea that the sibling is still young enough that if it goes into the sea, it could still become a selkie. It's like the older child has outgrown it, but the younger child is still able to become that. I don't know exactly. It's been a long time since I saw it, but I really like that one too. And the music for it is still is so wonderful. It is so good. It's not. I don't think it's quite as classic as Secret of Roninish, but yeah, it's a good one. Another Scottish one, like mine, Secret of Roninish.
Song of Kells. Okay. Well, I'll have to see if I can figure out how to get a hold of that.
Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea. Secret of Kells is actually about St. Patrick.
Okay.
And kind of the Book of Kells. Do you know what the Book of Kells is? Like the illumination and all of that. So it's kind of the coming about of the Book of Kells.
Gotcha.
And it's the Secret of Kells.
Nice. And I'm not sure which movie you're talking about, Leslie. It might be Song of the Sea.
Or The Secret of Roninish.
Yeah. The lag is making this unclear, so you'll have to let us know. But we have gone on much longer than I normally do with these Fireside Chats. Oh my gosh. JD's here. Hola from Chicago. What are you doing in Chicago? You must be there for work. Or no, maybe it's weekend time. It's your own time. We're just wrapping it up here, JD. We're talking about selkies and animated movies and all good things. So,
This
yeah.
was fun. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being a guest. Do you have anything coming up that you're excited about you want to point people's attention to or make them aware of, either on your channel or something you're participating in?
I have things coming up, but the people I'm doing them with, we haven't made any announcements yet. So I guess I would say stand by. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. I was doing video planning this morning, so I can look at my handy dandy, not at all buried calendar here and see that on the 1st, oh, that's when I'm doing the new poll. Okay, so I'll be asking for sticker recommendations for my new planner in a poll. So look out for that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Yep, planner nerd right here. But thank you, everyone. Let me put up my thank you. Thank you. Subscribe to the booktubers and find out what they're reading. Deea got a bunch of recommendations written down, and I have to come back and write mine down. But at least I've got the movie recommendation at the end in my head. So yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you got some great book recs, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.